I have my watch to my mouth because I'm also using it as a microphone. Technology is crazy. You could do a lot. Hi, my name's Hanan. This channel is called Hani's Vision, and today I'll be talking about starting because that's what I'm doing. Starting this channel, I've been feeling drawn to YouTube for a while now. I used to have a YouTube channel, but I think I just wasn't ready at the time. So here I am. I have a lot to say, and I feel like I deserve to have somewhere to say it. I want to talk about my relationship with starting. Recently, in the past couple years, I built this value of listening to myself when I feel pulled towards something. Obviously within my means of energy and resources. That's really how you gain new things in your life. A lot of the things right now in my life that I'm very appreciative of came from me putting myself in situations I never expected to be in. And they came from the unfamiliar. And that used to be something I was very uncomfortable with. But I realized you learn how to do unfamiliar shit by doing unfamiliar shit. So I'm a writer, and writing, journaling has been my main form of expression for the past few years, since high school, I think, maybe even longer. And once I got to college, I started writing poetry. So recently, in 2023, I wrote poetry that I was completing and I was more proud of. I had 2 poems that I was ready to really share with people. And I was I can't just perform when I have 2 poems. But one of these days it was just oh, I think I'm ready. And all these steps I had created for myself that I felt I had to pass before performing, I hadn't passed them yet, but it was just time. So what was it, 2 weeks later, I went to an open mic and I performed. Spiritually, I was ready. Emotionally, I was ready. I was ready for however I felt afterwards, however I showed up on that stage. And I was ready to learn from the experience so I could do it better in the future and so I could feel proud of myself. That was an example of me just trusting myself. I felt drawn to reading my poetry. I felt drawn to sharing. So I finally did that. I read my poetry. Then I wrote a poem about how I felt about appearing on stage. And recently I had performed that first poem that I performed in the way that I wanted to hear it. In the way that I imagined it in my head, the way that I heard it in the mirror. I finally was able to say it like that on stage. And what that took was multiple attempts of me performing and just being okay with how I showed up, me performing and learning from it, understanding my strengths, understanding where I could grow. There's a lot of experiences I have with the unfamiliar and with starting new things that I look forward to talking about. But I want to talk about right now the fear with starting, and I guess my personal fears with starting. One thing I learned about myself in the past few years is that the fear of failure will hold me back from doing things that I even expect to be good at. I was at a place where I would rather not try something than try it and fail. And even worse, I cared more about being perceived as a failure. I realized that me not trying things that I wanted to try was failure within itself. Basically, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. So I realized I'm not afraid to fail. I obviously am not afraid to fail if I'm allowing myself to do it in the easiest way possible. I'm more afraid to be perceived as a failure, and it's easier to avoid people knowing that you tried something and you didn't win and you didn't get the outcome that you might have wanted, or even that people expect you to want. I mean, this applies to many aspects of my life. But in the case of trying new things, in the case of putting myself out there, my protection was just avoiding it altogether. When I knew, I like excitement. I like spontaneity. I like new things in my life all the time. That feeling of anxiety before doing anything you're not used to doing. Your body literally thinks it's protecting you from something. When it's keeping you from new experiences, when it's keeping you from learning opportunities, even the opportunity to learn that you don't want to do something ever again. Spontaneity is important to me, and one thing that I remind myself of to make me appreciate spontaneity even more is that change and growth and progress is always happening in the background. It doesn't always have to be like right in front of your face. Sometimes it's just happening and you can't even see it until like a year has passed and you look back and realize like, I used to be scared of this thing. I used to be terrible at this thing. I used to not even know I wanted to do this thing. And sometimes while that growth is happening, you just realize you have room for new things. I'm about to start working to gain experience in my field, but I don't fully know what's going on. And I also need to be making money. I need to be saving. I need to be preparing for the future. And those are all things that like really require stillness and routine and patterns in my life. But I also recognize that I'm also at a waiting period. Like I've put in the amount of effort and I've put in the amount of work that I need to get these things rolling in my life right now. I'm like at a transitional period right now, and I might not even have enough energy and time to, work on this channel, work on other things that I'm working on once I'm fully locked in, basically. But I have the time and energy now. I have the time and energy to make this video, so why not? Like, I really used to be at a place in my life where if I wasn't sure what was happening next, I wasn't gonna do anything. I was always so focused on just contributing to what I knew was happening next that I didn't realize that it's okay to not always know what's happening next. And I would spend so much time like not still but stagnant, not really doing anything, not adding to my life, because I was like, what if this doesn't have anything to do with what I'm doing next? Why put my energy towards something that might not make me money if I'm at a time in my life that I'm supposed to be making money? Why put my energy towards something that I don't know if I'm going to be consistent with, if I value consistency so much? And all of these questions, when sometimes I just want a learning experience. I want to leave myself and whoever's watching with a few questions that I think came up to me throughout this video. How do I incorporate spontaneity at a time of routine? How do I fulfill my need? How do I satisfy my need for routine at a time of spontaneity? What does starting mean to me? What does commitment mean to me? Which is something I haven't gotten to in this video, but I look forward to in talking about in the future. And how do I relieve my fear of starting? How do I relieve the anxiety of something unfamiliar? Do I say fuck it and just go ahead and do it anyways while feeling scared? Which is another thing I didn't get to that I look forward to talking about in the future. But I guess that's all for today, and thank you for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff. And especially share with someone that you think might like this video if you like this video. That would mean a lot. My name's Hanan, and I'll see you again next time.